Part 13. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 123. Chapter 123 Dark Night, Murderous Intention. For the great treasure family, the red ticket is so fierce. When thunder firmaments X-30 golden war chariots flew through the air, Wei Suo was carefully walking through a thorny jungle. What is this sect? Seeing the arrogant escape light, Wei Suo suddenly got a little cold sweat. Now Wei Suo is heading in the southeast direction of Sky Valley, and Wei Suo is relieved to see that the golden war chariot is going to the east. After a long walk, Wei Suo suddenly heard the screaming surging sound of the shapeshift great art in the jungle in front of the left side. Wei Suo's heart moved slightly, and after confirming that no one was around, Wei Suo's appeared in the hands of a slightly silver-colored cloak-shaped shapeshift great art. After a sneak peek into the body, True Suo disappeared miraculously from the original place. This shapeshift great art garment is the invisible shapeshift great art garment that Murong Chen helped Wei Suo. Before it came out, Wei Suo had already applied the sunscreen-proof liquid to the coat. Now that it is used, it really can be completely invisible. Wei Suo is wearing this invisible shapeshift great art clothing without surging sound. The breathless sound is moving closer to the corner of the shapeshift great art surging sound. Soon, Wei Suo saw a heavenly circuit realm cultivator with two divine sea realm 5th layer cultivators, and was fighting with two heavenly circuit realm cultivators. The five people Wei Suo have never seen each other. The shapeshift great art, which is half the spirit rank, can't seem to be a winner. A moment later, Wei Suo re-emerged at a distance far from the shapeshift great art secret place, and there was a bitter smile on his face. The five people all looked like they were sullen. It was obvious that at least one of them wanted to kill the goods and then they started to fight. It seems that this kind of mutual calculation between the cultivators, killing the giant treasure, has been completely carried out outside the Sky Valley. Wei Suo didn't want to make troubles anymore. After a little indulging, he directly approved the invisible shapeshift great art suit and marched toward the southeast of the Sky Valley without surging sound. The great treasure is about 50 miles away from the Sky Valley. Wei Suo plucks a towering ancient tree, and the tree is looking towards the legendary Sky Valley. Wei Suo suddenly has a kind of pumping. A feeling of air conditioning. At this moment, the colorful poisonous cockroaches outside the Sky Valley have been completely dispersed, revealing the full picture of the Sky Valley. The entire Sky Valley can only be described with great treasure and extremely wild. From the position of Wei Suo, you can only see the great treasure half of the southeast of the valley, and the line of sight does not reach the whole picture. I saw a few high mountains in the middle of the valley. At this moment, there are many colorful poisonous scorpions in the secret place. They are scattered and look very colorful and very shocking. It may be because of the long-term obscuration of the colorful poisonous scorpion. All the trees in the Sky Valley seem to have a gloomy color, and most of the great treasures are covered with many vines, some of which grow on the vines. Many long, smaller plants that give a feeling of head silk. This even gives a legendary magical feeling. At this point, the cultivator that enters it does not say thousands, and there are at least 7 or more 800, but Wei Suo does not seem to see the shadow at all. Scattered in such a wide Sky Valley, these cultivators are only a drop in the ocean. Only occasionally you can see some splendid light flashing in some places. It seems that some cultivators have already started. A secret place in the southeast of Sky Valley, a secret place, a scribe who wears a white shirt and a white robes, and a thin bamboo priest wearing an apricot robes are flying forward. Just a few miles from the outskirts of the Sky Valley, the white-faced scribes and the thin bamboo priests suddenly stopped. 5 young cultivators who appeared to be under 30 years of age appeared in front of the two. The 5 young cultivators are all wearing a water-stained moon-white shapeshift great art, and there are 2 Tianyi characters by rune behind them. They are the inner sect disciples of Heaven's first sect. In Spirit Peak City, Heaven's first sect's outer sect disciple is also numerous, but outer sect disciples' position in heaven's first sect is equito to chores and labor, and there is no such thing as the door's attention, nor the heaven's first section real heritage. But once you become inner sect disciples, your identity and status are very different. Not only will there be a certain amount of spiritual stones rations every day, but you may also have a great cultivator income in heaven's first sect. Not only can you get the best work, shapeshift great art, but also protected by heaven's first sect. If there is a fight outside on weekdays and kills several heaven's first sect outer sect disciple, heaven's first sect may not be pursued. But killing the inner sect disciples, I am afraid that it will immediately kill the heaven's first sect like Wei Suo and others killing the young cultivator. After all, any great treasures, the investment in inner sect disciples, and even elite disciple are very different, and hope to get the reward of great treasure from these disciples. And if even these disciples can't be protected, then the prestige of this great sect will also be great treasure. Sorry, this secret place has been arranged by our divisional elders with some powerful restrictions. Please also ask the two Dieters to enter the Sky Valley from the secret place. After stopping the scribes and the thin bamboo priests who had no need for white-faced faces, one of the graceful heaven's first sect disciples smiled and said. The white-faced scribes and the thin bamboo priests looked slightly ugly and looked at each other. They did not say anything and went to the south. At a distance from that five heaven's first sect disciple, the sect of those heaven primary disciple was certainly no shapeshift great art heard, and after that, the thin bamboo monk quick to defy up, heaven's sect this is clearly a bully, by their own forces great treasure, many people, live this piece of place, not let people enter, so that their people now this one azimuth collection of spiritual herb. The white-faced scribes shook their heads helplessly, and smiled and said, there is nothing to do with shapeshift great art. These great sects are all ones that occupy a secret place. Like our rogue cultivator, where is the temperament, and the thunder firmament sect, which is still on top of them, they are not the great treasures that shake the great treasure and fly directly from above. These sects don't dare to bring them. Stop. Now it's useless to irritate, or to enter a safe place in another secret place. Don't hit the divine light as soon as you enter it. It is already fortunate that we can safely collect some spiritual herbs. The thin bamboo monk's facial expression is slightly good-looking, but still is difficult to hide angry Italy to say, on the basis of heaven's sect today's do shapeshift great art, in future, if I can have a bamboo Taoist luck, get ahead of the words, must give heaven's sect point to eat, then let heaven's sect people cannot from Spirit Peak City of the four secret place Xingman out of town, give them another open a dog hole, or not out of the city, to out only from this dog hole out. As I said this, the two disappeared into the jungle on the south side. Just a moment later, the silver flashed, and Wei Suo revised after a tree in the secret place. It seems that this invisible shapeshift great art suit is hidden. If I don't use true Yuan, it will be bullied to the heavenly circuit realm cultivator. The other side is also without shapeshift great art. Some satisfied looking at the shapeshift great art clothes on the hand. After the sentence, Wei Suo looked helplessly at the place where heaven's first sect was blocked, and plunged directly into a nearby densely leafed tree. On, no surging sound, no interest, closed eyes, adjusted up. Entering from the area blocked by heaven's first sect, it should be closest to the area where amethyst fox rose is likely to grow, but the five inner sect disciples of heaven's first sect are the masters of heavenly circuit realm first layer, and say there are really a lot of restrictions in the room, and they are just like the two heavenly circuit realm cultivators. Other cultivators are going to enter as much as possible during the day, but now Wei Suo's has the true shapeshift great art liquid that was purchased for the night vision when green-robed old man great treasure was purchased last time. Green-robed old man can also come out to help Wei Suo divine consciousness. Compared to the general cultivator, Wei Suo will be a more cultivator at night. Now heaven's first sect has occupied the site of the southeast corner of Sky Valley, and Wei Suo decided to take a detour in the dark. Anyway, If the fox flower is easy to find, it may soon fall into the hands of heaven's first sect. If it is not so easy to find, or heaven's first sect just wants to go deep into the Sky Valley from this position, then Wei Suo still has some opportunities. Moreover, according to Wei Suo's judgment, heaven's first sect takes this orientation as a springboard, and the possibility of continuing to go deep into the Sky Valley accounts for more than 80%. Because the Sky Valley unblocked over the years, the more you go inside, the less cultivator you enter, so the more peripheral it is, the less good things are, the more you get into it, the more good things. Great sect like heaven's first sect has many disciples to make a contribution. It is absolutely impossible to get the secret place like the Wei Suo rogue cultivator. Shortly after Wei Suo was hidden in the ordinary great treasure tree outside the Sky Valley, the shadow of a giant great treasure suddenly landed in the sky from the south side, and when the air flew down, it took up. The peaceful shaking pressure makes Wei Suo, who is hundreds of miles away, feel a little scared. The black shadow is obviously not what the shapeshift great treasure is, but it is stronger than the level 5 upper grade twin-headed canine. Now in the Sky Valley, there is already a strong great treasure monster beast entered. This makes Wei Suo more patient and more careful. As time went by, the sky outside Sky Valley finally slowly darkened. When the last touch of the sunset finally disappeared under the horizon, Wei Suo leaped from the tree and swept towards the south. Nearly a few hundred feet outside the Sky Valley, Wei Suo put away the invisible shapeshift great art. Because after this period of trials, he now has this invisible shapeshift great art clothing, which will leave a transparent shadow under the slightly moving lust shape. Plus, this shapeshift great art garment itself does not completely isolate the cultivator's breath, and it's still moving. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 124. Chapter 124 Crisis, 4th, Red Ticket. In the night, Wei Suo continues to move towards the periphery of the Sky Valley. Soon, the edge of the Sky Valley that was shrouded in colorful poisonous lords was less than 50 feet. There was no silence in the front, but Wei Suo suddenly stopped. In the grove of secret place not far from him, there were piles of conspicuous white gimmicks, and there seemed to be a random wooden sign. Do not enter none. The 4 great treasure words on the wooden sign are filled with blood, as if they were painted with blood. Looking at the pile of white plagues and wooden signs, Wei Suo just depressed and sweared in the heart, and then walked in the direction of the southern side, looking for another place to enter the valley. Just after Wei Suo took the great treasure stick of incense, a great treasure wearing a black robes appeared in the place where Wei Suo had previously stood. The 30-year-old great treasure Han looks like a cultivator of heavenly circuit realm first layer cultivation base, and this person is certainly the same as Wei Suo, which is a safe place to go around a few secret places, but both were blocked by great sect, and the secret place hit the wall. Now seeing this pile of white symbols and wooden signs, this great treasure is a great treasure, and the haze is so cold that he has a surging sound. Why, heaven's first sect, they occupy a great treasure piece. Say, even sect like White Skeleton sect wants to divide the Sky Valley. Immediately, the face of the angry giant treasure Han continued to rush forward. After going deep into the 67 feet, I saw that I had entered the range of the colorful poisonous scorpion, and it really entered the Sky Valley, but suddenly, the great treasure of the inside of the body within the range of 30 feet, suddenly surged a strip of white gas, all condense a white bone blade, and the sky is generally toward the great treasure Han. White. Died originally full of anger, great treasure Hanton was replaced with a look of horror burning with a brilliant look, first inspired a golden mask, and then rushed to create a black iron shield and a copper shield. Desperately I want to quit Sky Valley. But under the impact of the white bones around the roof, the great treasure Han was rushed almost without the movement of shapeshift great art. Soon the powerful energy of the golden mask was exhausted and shattered. Pay Papa. Boneblade in the protection great treasure Han, 2 sides of the shapeshift great art shield, issued a dull surging sound, great treasure Han hands, non-stop issued a root cyan giant wood, as far as possible to withstand the surrounding chung to the bone blade at the same time, also begged for the great treasure called up, in the next do not know elder mo here, many offensive, also hope elder mo self-cut, Rao villain life. But shouting again and again, except for the spurting surging sound of the bone blade, there is no half person to pay attention to him. After a moment, the two sides of the shapeshift great art shield were completely separated, and the dazzling look of the great treasure Han was also strangled by the flying bones. Wei Suo didn't know that this decision to circumvent it again really made him escape the catastrophe. The current Wei Suo is standing in a secret place pile of stones from the secret place entrance occupied by White Skeleton sect. For other cultivators, no matter how you look, this is not a good place to enter. Because of the front of the pile of rubble, the outer part of the Sky Valley, which is usually covered by colorful poisonous scorpions, is a small quagmire of great treasure to the secret place. There are many swamps of strange plants. And just in front of Wei Suo's standing, on a flat, dry ground, lying on the body of a black giant rat that seems to have been dead for a long time, the fur on his body has rotted. But the 4 black giant rat's 4 jade-like claws are smooth and new, and even dust and dirt are not dyed. It is obvious that this black giant mouse just died soon. After watching it for a while, Wei Suo returned to the jungle behind him, and soon appeared again, carrying a common rock snake with the thickness of his arm that had just been killed by him, and then he forced the rock snake toward it. The place where the black giant rat is thrown. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 125. The reason why the throat hurts and the egg hurts this morning is that the sore throat stays up all night. The reason why the egg hurts is that the red ticket is ranked 5th in the morning, and there are not many tickets for the poor. It can be clicked several times more than others. In the morning, the ticket is not as good as others. Later, even if the egg hurts, the ticket will get up, indicating that the egg pain is still useful, and then the egg can only continue to hurt. The red ticket quickly smashed me. After a day of egg pain, my egg pain decision. If I give force today, I will have an egg pain outbreak tomorrow. Everyone smashed the red ticket in pain. With a flash of aura, Wei Suo, dressed in an unremarkable restructured vest, walked out of the teleportation circle in the abdomen of the mountain closest to Qingfeng Mausoleum. Looking at Wei Suo, who flew out of the mountain alone, the 2 Tianyi disciples responsible for guarding this magic circle showed disdainful gods in their eyes. Of the 2 Tianyi disciples, all the disciples responsible for guarding the circle, the cultivation behavior is considered high, and they are all fourfold cultivation practices of the Shanhai realm. The level of cultivation is also the fivefold of the Divine Sea realm. If they were in peacetime, these 2 Tianyi disciples could not see Wei Suo with this kind of vision. But this time appeared in King Fengaling, 2 Tianyi disciples knew that Wei Suo had come for Meishang without thinking. As the RI of the colorful poisonous malaria outside the Sky Dome becomes thinner, there are as many as 600 or 700 monks out of the Sky Dome from the King Fengaling. King Fengaling, which was usually inaccessible, has almost been swept away by passing monks. Now it is estimated that even 2 monsters cannot find one. Not to mention some ancestors of Lingyu City, dozens of cities near Lingyu City, and many monks of ancestors have also gathered in Midian Valley. Most of these monks are monks above Zhou Tianjing, and there are even monks above the point of view. Some of the 5 monks of the Shanhai realm, even if they arrived, were all in groups of 3 or 5. Under the leadership of Zhou Tianjing monks, they were preparing to enter the Midian Valley. It is not that there is a monk of Shanhai realm who comes alone like Wei Suo, but at least in the eyes of most people, the probability of the monk of Shanhai realm going to Meishan Valley alone is more than 50%. At this time, many monks were waiting outside the Midian Valley, waiting for the increasingly colorful diarrhea to finally dissipate. There are even many monks with strong anti-poison ability, or strong anti-poison magic weapons, which have entered the Midian Valley, and even the faint roar of monsters and beasts and the sounds of spells and magical instruments have been heard. However, there are obviously many monks who are rushing away. When we passed through the King Fengaling, Wei Suo saw many Dao Dongguangs, rushing towards Meishan Valley from all directions. Seeing such a situation, Wei Suo was not anxious at all, and even Baiyu he didn't sacrifice, but just drove on with the wind and clouds. After all, although it is possible to enter the valley for the first time, it is possible to grab some easy-to-find elixir, but the monks and monsters that flowed in at the beginning are the most dense, and theoretically the most dangerous. Midiang is thousands of miles away, so wide a range. After a large number of monks go deep, the density of monks will not be so high. Moreover, Wei Suo's original purpose was very clear, mainly because he wanted the purple fox flower with spirit stones that he might not be able to buy. If he got the purple fox flower, he would be able to get some benefits and look for the situation. Bad, Wei Suo will definitely have to pull his feet to run, and will not continue to take risks. It is not far from the King Fengaling to the legendary ancient sky created by the ancient power. After Wei Suo flew around for a while, the sky dome appeared in front of him. It was an incredibly large white light curtain. Ascending from the ground, connected to the endless high altitude, even if the high-level monsters with amazing flying ability and flying to amazing heights, they can't cross the sky dome that still spreads. Even the monks in Jindan realm are the same. They cannot fly to a height that can exceed the sky dome. It seems that the entire sky dome has been connected to the sky and cannot be surpassed at all. The sky dome is not only up to the sky, but also invisible deep into the ground. Even if the monster with the ability to escape into the ground, it is impossible to break through the sky dome. What kind of magical power does a monk who has created such a magnificent, lasting tens of thousands of years, and can unilaterally block the invasion of the high-level monster beast? I don't know how many miles it stretches, and it protects the sky dome of the entire Tianqian continent. The white light curtain always exudes a sense of emptiness and compassion. Any monk who sees the sky dome will have a kind of heart. Ah! Wei Suo also stopped in front of this white light curtain. He reached out his hand and touched the white light curtain. As if passing through a layer of water curtain, Wei Suo's hand was easily put out. Wei Suo withdrew his hand again and stood silently in front of the white light curtain. He looked at the sky dome and the boundless wilderness outside the sky dome. In addition to awe, there were many inexplicable things in his eyes. Then he moved and stepped out of the sky. Outside the sky dome, there is an unimaginable wilderness. The towering ancient trees embraced by dozens of people can be seen everywhere, and compared with the inside of the sky dome, all kinds of trees are disorderly and disorderly. At first glance, they give people an unusually savage and wild feeling. From time to time, weird monsters that didn't exist in the sky dome flashed through the mountains. Even when standing on the top of the highest ancient wood, at a glance, we can only see the abnormal mottled face and the continuous wilderness and mountains. At the end, inside the sky dome is the world ruled by the monks, while outside the sky dome, most places are still the world dominated by monsters and beasts. Near a towering ancient wood with many barks of iron black, a cluster of blue light is flying here from a distance. The blue light is the green jade fan on two sides. Standing on it are three monks who are all rebuilt by Zhou Tianjing. At the center is a middle-aged monk wearing a bright yellow dragon robe with a white jade belt around his waist. The left head is a plump beauty wearing a light green palace dress, while the right head but he is a priest of Qingzhenzeapeo in his 30s. Suddenly, the flying escape instrument, which looks like a green jade fan, flew over the valley, and then descended. Seeing that the three were about to fall into this valley, suddenly the green light below flashed, and a layer of green light curtains emerged. The three extraordinary Zhou Tianjing monks suddenly changed, and immediately stopped the downward momentum, and quickly left the top of the valley. There is another world in the Green Valley, an old man with a very proud face, wearing an old white robe with a cloud of white clouds, sitting on a large rock. In front of him, more than 40 monks gathered densely. Among these 40 monks, more than 20 monks are wearing different vests, while the other 20 monks are all wearing the same kind of green vest that exudes aura of wood. The lowest of these more than 40 monks are also the monks of the 5 levels of Shanghai realm. Among them there are even masters of Zhou Tianjing's double or even triple. And this very proud old man is the existence of the amazing 5 repair of Zhou Tianjing. Count Your Interest slightly raised his head and felt the old man sneered slightly when the 3 Zhou Tianjing monks emperor escaped, and turned to look towards the entrance to the valley on the left. I saw that under the flash of green light, a young girl in a green shirt Zhou Tianjing rebuilt, swept in. Thousands of respectfully said to the old man, Elder White, the people of Tianyimen and Juxingzong have already begun. Entering the Midian Valley, the people in Dongjao Resort haven't seen any major moves. Huh. Now that both Tianyimen and Juxingzong have entered, you can also go. The old man sneered at the 40 monks waiting in front of him and said, Dear disciples, I will say it again. Once again, although we Yuehuazong do not want to be hostile to these martial arts that are evenly matched with us, we are not afraid of these factions. If they don't have good intentions, you can do your best. Underneath, you need to be more clean. If you have been slammed down and have the exact evidence, you will only have to break it. As for other schools and forces, if you dare to block, kill it. As long as you can collect elixir in this trip, if you come out, you will be rewarded with a magic pill, and you can enter the Tibetan scripture hall to choose a mysterious high-level spell. If you can collect the elixir on the door master list, you will be rewarded with a ground-level low-level spell. In addition, there are 10,000 lower-grade spirit stones. The disciple leads the life. The old man's words just fell, and all the 40 monks in front of him shouted with blood, and then flew in groups of 2 or 3 towards the rear. This month, the old man of Huasong watched silently after all the disciples disappeared in the mountains before him, and then stood up, as if he was about to enter the Maishan Valley, where he had seen the sky again. But at this moment, he saw the sky on the east side, and a row of escapes flew towards the east side of Midian Valley in a very arrogant posture. The row of escapes were all gold chariots carved with thunderclouds and lightning patterns. Mingxiao City Laixiao Zone, the 6 words spit out a bit coldly from the old man's mouth. The white man in white, who didn't seem to care much about his mind at the moment, the pupil at this moment contracted slightly. Even so far away? It seems that Laixiao Zone has some elixir that he wants to get this time. In a valley on the west side gathered more than 30 monks wearing various animal skins and leather armor, and immediately noticed the very arrogant group of escapes in the sky. Although there is no empty space around Maishangwu, basically all the monks will not fly in this way. Because such a violent flight can easily become the target of some powerful monsters. Beyond this sky dome, monsters of level 6 and above, which are difficult to deal with by monks, are everywhere. Even if the cult of Laixiao Zone is high, they are not afraid of monsters and becoming targets of other monks. There are many places in the sky above Midian Valley. If there is no Tao Xinaiu, they will not dare to do so. Arrogantly flew in directly, said a middle-aged monk headed with a scar on his face. Yin Shenzhiji said, after they dispersed, we managed to kill several of them and take the peach on them. Xinaiu. Good. The vast majority of monks wearing all kinds of animal skins and leather armor laughed all at the same time, and took out 1 or 2 slave animal bags at the same time. These monks seem to be a great sect specializing in controlling beasts. Be Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 126. Chapter 126 Seal Cleaving Talisman, second today, Red Ticket. Among the 3.5 spirit rank shapeshift Great Art Great Treasure, in addition to 2 pieces of great treasure road goods mixed with a little black sand refining black small flying knife and a kind of monster beast in addition to the black hook shapeshift great art great treasure, the rest of the bronze nails are not the norm. The appearance of this thing looks like an ordinary bronze great treasure short nail, but after the excitement, when it comes to the opponent, the top of the great treasure nail will spurt a small nail, which is faster than great. The treasure is faster and can be taken unprepared. Not counting the rest of the cultivator's chi recovery pellet and shapeshift great art, 5.5 spirit rank shapeshift great art shield, 2.5 spirit rank spirit light shapeshift great art shield, plus 4.5 spirit rank the offensive shapeshift great art, these things are worth more than 20,000 pieces of spiritual stones. Adding to the 77,000 spiritual stones from the 3 cultivators, there are at least 37,000 spiritual stones. That's why many cultivators flock to it, and want to do the best thing about shapeshift great art killing. The cultivator coming to Sky Valley also knows what lust shape is, so basically all the body will be brought to the body. Killing a cultivator may be far more than what you usually get. If it wasn't for Amethyst Fox Rose, now that Wei Suo has withdrawn, it has already made a fortune. In addition to these things, the remaining bottle of immortal powder in the tall cultivator is really extremely sinister. Although this kind of thing is not a poison, it will not directly cause death to the enemy, it will also be invalid for the monster beast, and after a stick of incense time, the drug will dissipate on its own. But within a stick of incense time, it can make the cultivator soft, without shapeshift great art using true UN, even a blink of an eye cannot do. The most important thing is that this kind of thing is not only colorless and tasteless, it is difficult to rub, and pill recipe has long been lost. No one in the cultivation world can refine it. Naturally, there will be no antidote, and there is prevention of medicine pill. Only the cultivator of Golden Core Realm can withstand the power of immortal powder. For the cultivator below Golden Core Realm, it can be said that it is killing. Just cast this kind of thing, you have to use the unique means to the 2 guys, otherwise you will be recruited at the same time as the opponent. After carefully collecting all the shapeshift great art and a bottle of immortal powder, Wei Suo picked up the map of the blue-robed cultivator. The whole map is very simple, only a few points on the periphery of the 2 secret places in the southeast of Sky Valley, marking the distance from the great treasure. It should also be that the cultivator in this valley is drawn according to memory. At these points, the name of a spiritual herb is marked, plus some lines representing the terrain, but there is nothing on this map. White mushroom. Purple chi ginseng. 7 stars flower. Sky era cherry. Every kind of spicy herb marked above is very rare, at least worth thousands of spiritual stones. Especially the last Sky era cherry, which makes Wei Suo and green-robed old man a little bit moving. Sky era cherry, the spicy herb, is also the same as the one that makes Wei Suo unforgettable twin-headed canine dog meat, which can improve the cultivator naked body and improve the speed of the culture. However, after hesitating for a while, Wei Suo, who was golden, was still stunned by a surging sound hum, and then he was about to give up to find the Sky era cherry. Instead, he went to find spiritual chi with a very rich internal content. Equivalent to 20 golden spirit pellets potency, and refining is also very fast purple chi ginseng. Because from this map, that Sky era cherry is too close to the secret place entrance blocked by Heaven's sect, Wei Suo has tried to use stealth shapeshift great art dress and invisibility. Shapeshift great art great treasure as well as mind-devouring bug sneak attack, killing a heavenly circuit the realm cultivator and a divine SE realm 5th layers cultivator, but he's not arrogant enough to go to a place like that. And Heaven's first sect a bunch of inner sect disciples, elite disciple, even long old class personalities singled out. And before shopkeeper Tian told Wei Suo's news, the amethyst fox rose should be growing in a secret place at the foot of the first great treasure mountain on the southeast side of the valley. From this map, from Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 127. Chapter 127 Character Problems. Third, ask for the red ticket. Today, we will continue to break out of the four, the great treasure red ticket to pick up, and then the fourth is around 12 o'clock in the evening. The bearded cultivator provoked an unusually large black sword in his hand. Dang was a surging sound, and the black gold white sword was accurate and slammed into the white light of the green shirt boy. At the moment, the bearded cultivator also sees that this month, the Huasong disciple will definitely not let go of the girl and the palace dress girl. The white light from the shackles flew back to the green shirt boy's hand. It was a crescent-shaped white short blade with sharp edges on the edges. At the moment, the central part was a deep scar. However, the green shirt boy swept over, but it was a sneer. It was obvious that this shapeshift great art was only used to test the power of the flying sword, and the flying sword that tried to opponent was very invisible in his eyes. Bearded cultivator, after hitting the shapeshift great art of the green shirt boy, he immediately jumped into the green shirt boy. Seeing this lust scene, the green shirt boy directly took a light shot on the side of the palace dress girl, and there was a layer of ice on the outside of the palace dress girl, which was directly without breath. Without a pause, the green shirt teenager vacated, and the blue light flashed under his feet. He wore a pair of Dengyun boots that were superior to Wei Suo's. They could vacate 20 feet. As soon as I saw the green shirt juvenile, it was so ruthless, the bearded cultivator was suddenly pale, mad at a surging sound, and the violent leaping. At the same time, the black gold sword light was like a poisonous cockroach. The green shirt teenager swept away. The green shirt juvenile actually stood still in the air, and with the surging sound of the cockroach, the black-haired sword light of the bearded cultivator smashed a crack on the red scorpion shield behind him, but his mouth was emerging out of a ridiculous table lust that you were fooled. Yin phosphorus sand. Bearded a surging sound, screaming surging sound. Wei Suo also likes intercourse. A bag of yin phosphorus sand, which is affordable and full of money, is wrapped in a green shirt. Burning this side of the red shield directly, spiritual chi great treasure lost. While falling, the bearded Wujin wide sword is also blue smoke, brilliance. When the bearded cultivator was so painful that the flying sword was extremely painful, it immediately inspired a white jade talisman. In the twinkling of an eye, it was already covered with white mist, and the white mist was strong in the unsightly forest. No 5 fingers. The green shirt boy was not too slow to sacrifice a red-hot bottle gourd. As True Yuan kept entering, countless pieces, like a bat like fire, sprang up, directly covering 450 feet. Area. The bearded that has escaped more than 20 feet to the east has been forced to show up again. Seeing that the bearded great art escaped, bearded cultivator suddenly began to work hard, and returned to the green shirt juvenile approaching. There have been some pitted black gold flying sword swaying toward the green shirt teenager, and at the same time, the hand raised a water spraying arrow and spurred the green shirt. This bearded cultivator is also the cultivator of Heavenly Circuit Realm first layer, and the water arrows that are cast are also extraordinary. The green shirt boy seems to be too much of the ordinary shapeshift great art shield. It is deliberately consuming a lower grade of the shapeshift great art shield, which in turn stimulates an ordinary black iron shield and a steel shield. On both sides, the shapeshift great art shield was almost completely split by the black gold flying sword and was hit by the imposing water arrow. While the spiritual chi great treasure was lost, he inspires a white a tooth-like shapeshift great art. When I saw this, the shapeshift great art, which was made by the teeth of the monster beast, was stimulated by the splendid light. The face of the bearded cultivator became extremely ugly, and it quickly evoked the flying sword. A cocky divine light screen came out. But the speed of the white light made by the shapeshift great art is too amazing. Under the glimpse of his flying sword, it is empty, and this white light is like a broken paper. The same, easily pierced the second layer divine light screen outside his naked body, and stuck to the edge of his copper shield, piercing him. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziwei. Chapter 128. Chapter 128 is stirred into a paste. Fourth, ask for the red ticket. After reading the update, remember the red ticket. Magic class shapeshift great art, and forced me to lose origin chi. I will help you withstand for a while, you are smart. At this moment, green-robed old man's depressed surging sound rang in Wei Suo's ear, and at the same time, Wei Suo's mind was clear. In the lingering light of Wei Suo's eyes, I saw that the green shirt boy was still blowing and sneaked to the left, which had already inspired his animal-like spiritual artifact. The things on these great sect's elite disciple are not comparable to the average rogue cultivator. If green-robed old man is not helping him, Wei Suo, who is still fainting at this time, must be shot directly. Screw your sister. Wei Suo quickly yelled at the green-shirt teenager, and after learning Lu Sanbao, he screamed his own red armor shield. A surging sound of blocked the white light of the green shirt boy. At the same time, Wei Suo also directly inspired the Yin Demon Blade. The green shirt boy is obviously a glimpse. It is clear that Wei Suo is still looking like a scorpion, and he is ready to take the corpse away, but Wei Suo actually swears a screw your sister. However, he did not stop under his hand, and the Akasaka shield immediately greeted the amazingly stunning Yin Demon Blade. A surging sound, which has been somewhat damaged, was cut directly by the Yin Demon Blade like a chopped vegetable. Your sister. However, the green shirt boy learned Wei Suo, a surging sound, and the yellow belt-like shapeshift great art rolled out. After taking the opportunity to cut the Akasaka shield, the Yin Demon Blade, whose powerful energy has weakened. Seeing that the Yin Demon Blade was also taken away by the green shirt boy, at this moment, a dazzling black light emerged from Wei Suo's, just in the yellow belt of the shapeshift great art. With a surging sound, the yellow belt-like shapeshift great art was directly punched into a hole, like the old woman's tattered foot wash, and spiritual chi dissipated and fell to the ground. Haha. Originally decided that if you can't break this shapeshift great art, you will run Wei Suo. When you see such a lust scene, the great treasure of the moment is shouting a surging sound. Not my sister, your sister. 2 spirit rank attacks on shapeshift great art great treasure, the green shirt boy was very determined. Now, Wei Suo broke a precious shapeshift great art device and was ridiculed by Wei Suo. He suddenly rose from his heart and surging sound, with these things, you are not qualified to be arrogant in front of me, the voice has not fallen, and there are 2 things in his hand. What a joke, Wei Suo at first sight, suddenly a surging sound screams, and desperately applied shapeshift great art to a fire shield. Yin phosphorus bone sword. At this time, the green shirt juvenile took out, it turned out to be the sinister sword he used to deal with the heavenly circuit realm second layer. This is a direct burn of 1,500 pieces of spiritual stones, and now the green shirt teenager has taken out 2 handles at once. With Wei Suo's current defensive power of the red shield, the block is estimated to be barely blocked, but after blocking it, Wei Suo estimates that his red shield will be almost scrapped. Wei Suo is looking at the opponent. It is to take 2 yin phosphor bone swords out, scared to scream a surging sound, but this month Hwasong's green shirt boy is also a little scared green. Because at this time, he suddenly found that his right rear side did not know when there was a level 5 high-level twin-headed canine. This twin-headed canine seems to be just like the cultivator just intercourse, the 2 heads are a bit fleshy, but at this moment the twin-headed canine has already spewed 2 monster cores. A red fire and a yellow lightning were all brought to him. Twin-headed canine monster core the power of bombardment, this green shirt boy knows clearly, almost subconscious, and the green shirt boy is arrogant and presents a golden shield with a sunflower pattern. At the same time, a yin phosphor bone sword flew out and spurred towards twin-headed canine. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziwei. Chapter 129. Today's first one is here again. Do you want to see the outbreak of the egg pain? The red ticket continues to smash. I actually want to secretly count on me, Nana. If I don't think you are a disciple of Yu Huasong, I'll secretly count on you in reverse. After this young boy of Yu Huasong left, Wei Suo's figure appeared again in the forest behind him. Just now he didn't go far, so he used the cloak of invisibility and hid. Therefore, Wei Suo heard clearly what this Yu Huasong disciple said to himself. What made him feel bad just now was that the monk wearing a red crimson jacket vaguely revealed a perfect half-soul order attack weapon. Now that someone has scraped away their spiritual stone bags and other objects, this magic weapon is impossible to stay, so Wei Suo immediately felt that this should be a trap. The result was indeed exactly what Wei Suo thought. If he went closer to view the two bodies, I am afraid that he would soon be attacked by the disciple of Yu Huasong who was lying there. Wei Suo saw that these two monks seemed to be beheaded by powerful techniques and instruments, and he was afraid of the strength of this Yu Huasong disciple. Furthermore, he did not want to cause more trouble, otherwise he would attack this in turn. As for the disciples of Minjai Huasong, there may be a success rate of more than 60% to 70%. It's just that this disciple of Yue Huazong also seems to have some means of concealing the breath. It is only more than 20 feet away, but even the old man in green robe could not realize the existence of this disciple of Yue Huazong. This made Wei Suo even more afraid of the inner disciples of these great gates, especially the disciples of Jingying. And from the perspective of the behavior style of this Yu Huasong disciple, it seems that these disciples of the Daozong men murdered and surpassed in the Midian Valley, and there was not much concern. A blue monk carefully turned away the vine plants with many poisonous thorns in front of him, and a steaming, slightly reddish water hole appeared in his sight. The water in this pool was nearly boiling, and from time to time, a bowl-sized air mass emerged, and a wave of sound was heard in the air. Rotten Bone Spring, it should be here. The blue monk holding a simple map of sheepskin suddenly shook his spirits, and after searching around his eyes for a moment, his eyes gathered on the northwest corner of the waterhole, and the ecstatic appeared on the face. On the edge of the lake in the northwest corner, there are two strange yellow plants. The leaves of these two low plants are very tender and look like mushrooms, but under the two thick leaves at the top, there is still a small yellow berry with some dark red on the peel spot. After condensing for a moment, the blue monk walked out lightly and at the same time very carefully inspired a green mask to walk toward those two peculiar yellow plants. Come out, hide there and want to attack me, don't come out again, don't blame me for being welcome. Suddenly, the monk in blue stood violently and said with a cold voice, and at the same time, the glory of 6 groups of Shenhai flashed on his body. A monk of Zhou Tianjing. But after the monk in blue drank this sentence coldly, there was still silence around him. After a while, the monk in blue sighed with relief and continued to walk towards the two plants. It was obvious that the blue monk was also very careful. Only then did he find nothing, but just yelled and tried. Without any accident, the blue monk walked safely to the hot spring of the dark red Se, but just as the blue monk prepared to reach out to pick the two peculiar plants, the eyes of this gleam of excitement shone with excitement. Suddenly, the blue monk's face changed, his throat rattled, and he fell softly to the edge of the pool. After the time of Yuxiang, one tall and one short, 2 monks wearing a vest made of iron scale snake skin excitedly emerged from the jungle on one side. Brother Dao, you have such a great idea. Put the feathering in this pool of water, and let the power of this feathering spread out silently with the heat of this bone-rot spring. Let alone this Jotian realm, a heavy monk, even a monk from Jotian realm, would have to drink our foot wash among them. The chubby monk with a shaggy hair and a very vicious look, kicked his foot with pride. Blue monk falling to the ground. The blue monk was not dead at the moment, gurgling in his throat, but he was like cotton, and could not move with a soft movement. The tall monk with a big mouth is also a vicious look. My bag of feathers is worth 500 inferior spirit stones, and it is placed in this pool of water. After a few incense sticks, the power is gone. Well, if no one comes, I'm not losing money, and I've invested a lot. Don't disappoint me with your stuff. After saying something proudly, this tall monk was on the blue monk's body. Checked it up. Hey, not long afterwards, the tall and fierce monk who pulled out a few things from the blue monk laughed with satisfaction, showing that the blue monk's worth made him very satisfied. But then he asked Scene to take off the blue monk's vestment, and regardless of the blue monk's horrified and begging gaze, he directly threw the blue monk into the dark red hot spring beside him. In just a few tumbles, the corpse of the blue monk was wiped away, even the bones could not be seen. Handling a Zhou Tianjing monk so cruelly, the two monks seemed to be used to it. Only the short monk said with pride, "Brother, this feather is really worth buying. It's a pity that this feather dispersed Danfang has long been lost, and it is also a thing that is difficult to buy with spirit stones. Now there is only one bag left. I hope to ask for more people to come later so that they can be sent at once." Penhenke, the tall monk, said greedily. After saying this, the tall monk took out a small black bottle. The mouth of this black bottle was sealed with a thick layer of wax. It seems that the inside is for the monk to loosen up and mix up softly. The feathering is gone. After being thrown into this decayed bone spring, the two can safely escape from the reach of the feathering powder when the thick wax layer is separated, and if the later monk approaches the pool, unconsciously the poison of the middle and upper feathering powder. The dwarf monk's eyes had fallen into the pool of water next to it, and the immortal bottle would fall into it at the next moment, making a beautiful splash of water, which was equivalent to the sound of a falling bag of spirit stones. But at this moment, a scene that made him extremely frightened appeared. Without any signs, the two eyes of the tall monk suddenly bulged out, and a blood hole suddenly appeared on his forehead. At the moment when the blood poured from the back of the brain, he chanced to see a magic weapon, but the moment it was worn out, it disappeared again. The short monk with a white face instantly pulled out something from his arms and wanted to inspire it, but he seemed to be suddenly burned to something, jumped up, and a blood hole appeared on his left foot. Immediately, a blood hole appeared on the forehead of the short monk who wanted to excite the magic weapon, and then the whole person fell to the ground with a puff. The figure of Wei Suo quickly appeared in the jungle on the left, which was less than 20 feet away. After picking up the things they held in their hands and the clothes on their bodies like a light car, Wei Suo also threw these two dangerous monks in the same way. Arriving at the rot bone spring beside him, he quickly picked the two plants down and flashed into the jungle. A moment later, Wei Suo was in a tree hole in the middle of a giant tree that could only be held by a dozen people, and could only hold 2 or 3 people. After reappearing the hidden secrets that could hide the breath, he happily counted what he had just got. Stand up. Huanglinguo. It can dispel cold and poison, and has strong blood pressure, which can increase the efficacy of several years of life. This kind of elixir is very precious to some monks whose cultivation base is about to break through, but Xuanhuan is about to run out. One plant is worth more than thousands of inferior spirit stones. But now there are 2 plants growing beside this rotted bone pool, and they are all in the hands of Wei Suo. After Wei Suo put the 2 peculiar yellow plants into the Nabeo capsule, he took out 3 more stone bags. Both the blue monk and the tall monk are monks of Zhou Tianjing. The short monk is also a monk of Shanghai realm. The spirit stones on these 3 people really excited Wei Suo's careful liver. The spirit stones of the 3 people add up to almost 17,000 inferior spirit stones, which is already a huge sum of money for Wei Suo now. And all the monks entered the Midian Valley, knowing that they are very dangerous, so they are equipped with magic tools as much as possible. Weiss, who never disliked many defensive instruments, was a little bit crooked. These 3 people not only have a Nabeo, but also a defensive shield in the Nabeo. 5 sides. The 2 sides of Weisuo are very familiar black iron shields, 1 turtle shield and 1 wood shield. What delights him most is that although there is also a defensive force that is also a semi-spirit level, it is made of thunder beast skin. Thunder and fire spells stimulated by opponents can be bounced and splashed out of most powerful shields. In addition to these magic shields, the aura-like magic shields of the semi-spirit order also received 2 pieces from these 3 people. As for the magic weapon of the attack type, none of them possessed a real spirit-level magic weapon, but there was a jade plate dedicated to the ice-cold air, which made Weisuo very happy. This piece should be a near-transparent jade plate made of high-grade cold jade. As long as a sacrifice is made and the true Yuan is in, you can continuously blast out the cold air over the other party. It's not like an ordinary magic weapon. Such a magic weapon not only has the effect of restricting the opponent, but also is less likely to be damaged by itself. In addition to this thing, there are as many as 3 other half-spell level instruments. B. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 130. Chapter 130 Mythical Underworld Immortal Lotus, Peerless Face, 2nd. Don't forget the red ticket after watching the update. Weisuo quietly stood without a surging sound at the entrance of a canyon secret place. It is said that it is a canyon. In fact, it can be described by a pit, because the Sky Valley itself is a giant great treasure valley with a depression. According to the simple map in Weisuo's hand, as long as you pass through the pit, you can reach the growing place of purple chi ginseng. The pit is very flat, without any giant treasure trees or rocks. The ground is full of a very low profile, shimmering shrub with black needles, and the shrub is also in the night. Small fruit with a slight white fluorescence. After a little indulging, Weisuo put on the invisible shape-shift great art, and then slowly entered the round pit with at least a few rounds. Weisuo chose to pass directly from here, because the terrain is flat and there is no cover, but it does not happen to be harmful to the cultivator. After he entered the invisible shape-shift great art, as soon as he walked in for a while and walked slowly, no one would find someone passing through the valley. But the more we walked the more we felt cold. When there was a distance of several tens of feet from the center of the pit, Weisuo had completely changed his face and trembled all the time. A staggering chilly gas, almost to get into his bone marrow, let him use true Yuan without shape-shift great art. Land of extreme chilling yin. It is a rare land of extreme chilling yin. At the same time, green-robed old man screamed in Weisuo's ear, "Look! Look around there! Mythical underworld immortal lotus! Weisuo, go pick up. Ids _crew first name Commonwealth 26. There is a mythical underworld ice lotus here. This can directly improve the cultivator naked body quality, allowing the cultivator to form the ice spiritual roots heaven level spiritual herb. How come?" Weisuo, who was trembling, slowly retreated more than 10 feet. In the call of green-robed old man, he has also seen the location of the pit near the center. There is a secret place, and it is a chilly gas visible to the naked eye. All of them are covered with blue and black ice. In the middle of the secret place, there is a blue-black ice-carved 7-leaf lotus flower. Under the chilly air, the Borneo-like leaves are still swinging slightly. Mythical underworld immortal lotus. Heaven-level spiritual herb. Let the cultivator form ice spiritual root. In green-robed old man's screaming surging sound, Weisuo doesn't know the value of this spiritual herb. Cultivation world. The so-called spiritual roots are excellent talents in one aspect. They are all genius characters, great treasures that great sect competes for. Ice spiritual root, which represents the speed of culture's ice shift great art and shape shift great art, will far exceeds the general cultivator, as long as you can find the appropriate ice shift gong shape shift great art and shape shift great art. Advanced speed. It tends to be 2 to 3 times faster than a typical cultivator. A spiritual herb that can bring a fairy. What is the concept? This strain of mythical underworld ice lotus, which city to go to the auction, I am afraid that will shoot hundreds of thousands of products below the price of spiritual stones, attracting countless Deo cultivator. Because this kind of spicy herb is useful for the thought division stage and even the great treasure cultivator above the golden core stage. Who would doubt that his natural talent is good enough? A lot of the great treasure cultivator, I would have liked to find all the spiritual herbs and turn myself into the cultivator of heaven's spirit root. But the more aware of the value of this spicy herb at this time, Wei Suo is even more depressed. Great treasure is under the eyes, but there is no shapeshift great art. Just now he just stepped forward and tried it out. With his current cultivation base, even if he had all the fire attribute shapeshift great art on his hands, just go a few dozen steps and estimate himself. True Yuan and Qi and blood will also be completely frozen and die. It's impossible to get away from mythical underworld immortal lotus. Aids _crew first name Commonwealth 26 Aids crew first name Commonwealth 26. I'm furious. Can't see it. If you have cultivated the cultivation base of the third division of the thought division realm, and then take a Yang Yuan shapeshift great art, you can pick this Xian Ming. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 131. Today, there will continue to be 4 outbreaks, everyone's red ticket smashed up, and then the 4th is around 12 o'clock in the evening. The bearded monk sacrificed the Wujin broadsword in his hands in annoyance, and with a bang bang, the Wujin broadsword accurately hit the white light from the green shirt boy, sparks splashing. Now the bearded monk also sees that this Yu Huasong disciple will certainly not let go of himself and that girl in palace dress. The white light that was cut back flew back to the hands of the green shirt, a short crescent-shaped white blade with sharp edges, and the Zhonyang part was a deep cut. However, the green shirt boy glanced at it, but instead sneered contemptuously, showing that this instrument was only used to test the power of his opponent's flying sword, and the opponent's flying sword was very inconsistent in his eyes. The bearded monk struck the green shirt boy immediately after striking the magic weapon of the green shirt boy, and leaped towards the green shirt boy. Seeing this scene, the green shirt boy patted directly on the girl in the palace dress, and a layer of ice immediately rose outside the girl in the palace dress, and there was no breath. Without a moment's stay, the green shirt boy rose into the air, the blue light flashed under his feet, but he was wearing a pair of high-end climbing boots that were higher than Wei Suo's Fenjian Lu, and he could fly 20 feet. As soon as I saw the young man in green shirt was so cruel, the face of the monk with a beard was pale and suddenly roared, and at the same time, the sword light of Wujin's sword was like a poisonous python coming out of the hole. The green shirt boy swept away. The green shirt boy actually stood still in the air. With a popping noise, Wujin, a monk with a beard, cut out a crack on the red shield behind him, but the corner of his mouth appeared. A sneering expression. You have been fooled. Yin phosphor sand. Wei Suo also liked the shrill scream of a bearded beard. A bag of yin phosphorus sand at an affordable price and sufficient amount was wrapped in the red AO shield of the green shirt boy. Burning this red AO shield directly lost his aura, while falling down, the beard of Wujin Quanjian was also smoky and bleak on the sword. When the unsightly bearded beard monk withdrew with great heartache, he immediately inspired a white jade charm. In an instant, it was already white mist, and the white forest was not clear. The fog was so thick that he could not reach his fingers. The green shirt young man gave a fiery red gourd without any hassle. As the real element kept going in, countless flakes, like a bat-like fire, spewed out, directly covering 40 or 50 feet. Area. The bearded beard, who had escaped more than 20 feet to the east, was forced to show his figure again. Seeing the inescapable monk with a beard, he suddenly had a desperate heart, and turned back to approach the green shirt boy. At the same time, the already pitted Ujin flying sword spun out toward the green shirt boy. At the same time, raising a hand to send a water arrow, excited towards the green shirt boy. This bearded monk is also a monk of Zhou Tianjing, and the water arrows he cast are also powerful. The young man in green shirt seems to think that there are too many common magic shields on his body. To deliberately consume a little lower grade magic shields, he also inspired a common black iron shield and Jing steel shield. At the same time, the two shields were almost completely split by the Wujin flying sword and were pitted by the amazing water arrows, and the spirit was greatly lost. At the same time, he excited a white tooth like a tooth. Magic instrument. At first sight, this dazzling brilliance radiated from the magic weapon made of the monster's teeth, and the face of the bearded monk immediately became extremely ugly. When he quickly recalled his flying sword, he was excited. An aura light mask came out. But the speed of the white light formed by this magical instrument was too amazing. When he cut the flying sword, he actually chopped a void, and this white light turned out to pierce his body like a pierced paper window. Two auras of light, attached to the edge of his copper shield, penetrated under his left rib. Spirit-level magic weapon. Judging from the power of this thing, it is truly a magic weapon of the spirit order. What? In the scream of the bearded beard, the green shirt boy again excitedly stimulated the magic weapon again, this time without the white light blocked by the two aura masks, directly broke through the copper shield and opened under the throat of the bearded beard. There was a blood hole. After covering this wound desperately, just between 1 or 2 breaths, the bearded monk fell to the ground with his eyes on his back. The green shirt boy fell proudly and walked towards the body of the bearded monk. In fact, he had a bet with a brother in the door before entering Midian Valley. Seeing who had hunted many monks in Midian Valley, the bet was a blood that could be used to draw the blood of the monster. Medullary. Seeing that the green shirt boy was going to walk to the monk's body, all of a sudden, the green shirt boy froze and said coldly towards the jungle on the left, "Your lord should have come out after seeing it for so long. Let me meet." At the same time, the fiery red gourd was sacrificed directly, and countless bat-like flames flew down instantly, and the sky above the jungle suddenly seemed like a natural disaster, and the fire was blazing. I depend. Behind a big tree in that dense forest, Wei Suo looked at a fist-sized black spider body not far from him, crying without tears. He quickly put away the invisibility cloak, and at the same time inspired a green photo mask and red copper mask. The character is really bad. Wei Suo, who happened to pass by, bumped into this Yu Huasong disciple again, and originally Wei Suo did not want to fight with this Yu Huasong disciple. However, it is not a coincidence that a second-order Fang's black spider just passed by, and it was about to fall on Weizhuo's head. Weizhuo killed this Fang's black spider with invisible bone spurs, but unexpectedly, on this occasion, he was discovered by this Yu Huasong disciple. "It's you." When this disciple of Yu Huasong saw Wei Suo in the blazing forest, he was slightly surprised in his eyes. Nanas. Wei Suo is not as unscrupulous as this disciple of Yu Huasong. If such a fire is burned here, it will likely attract other monks or monsters. Right now and this month, the disciples of Huasong are obviously only dead, so Wei Suo is not a nonsense. After a depressing curse in his heart, he directly sacrificed the white jade plate that had just arrived. I saw the white eye surging, the fire in the forest suddenly went out, and all the black trunks were covered with a layer of hoarfrost. Without any hesitation, after offering this white jade plate, the yin dangerous child and mother nails that Wei Suo had just got out also shouted directly towards the Yue Huazong green shirt teenager. "You are also a monk of Zhou Tianjing. There is a technique of concealing the true practice, no wonder dare to walk alone in the Meishan Valley." As soon as we saw Wei Suo's shot, the proud green shirt teenager also expressed some surprise. The voice, but there was no pause. Between shaking hands, a yellow light curled over the yin dangerous child nail issued by Wei Suo. This yin dangerous child nail of Wei Suo hadn't had time to issue the inside nail, After a short risk, he was caught by this yellow light, and then was taken into the hands by the green shirt boy. No. Wei Zhuo's chin almost fell to the ground. What the opponent cast was a yellow cloth-like magic weapon, and this magic weapon was able to take away the opponent's magic weapon directly. Now the opponent has at least one real spirit-level attack magic weapon in hand, and there is such a thing that can receive the weapon in his hand. No wonder this Yu Huasong disciple will be so fearless, specializing in hunting and killing monks for pleasure. It seems that this disciple of Yu Huasong is not an ordinary inner disciple at all, but one of Yue Zhang's Jing English disciples. This thing should be an imitation of the magic weapon of the Han Yuan sect, and the material should not be comparable to that of the real Han Yuan Iya. It is possible to break it with your small spirit-level arrow, if it can't be broken. Then you can't fight hard at all. If you want to figure out how to run away, the voice of the old man in green robe immediately rang in Wei Zhuo's ear. I rely on. I'm so low-key, why are you so serious? What makes Wei Zhuo even more depressed is that this green shirt teenager just didn't care when he just dealt with the bearded monk, he just released two sides of the red. AO done, but now we may feel that Wei Zhuo is a bit weird. He actually cast a green mask that looks good in defense. This made Wei Zhuo unable to sneak attack with stealth bone spurs. A chirp air burst, and at this moment, the green shirt teenager unceremoniously launched his beast tooth-like spirit offensive magic weapon. Poof! Poof! The double-layered light shield with half-spirit level defense wrapped around Wei Zhuo was immediately punctured. Spiritual defense shield. But what made the green shirt boy show the unexpected is that immediately appeared in front of Wei Zhuo. The thickness was amazing, the pimples on the top, the shield full of wildness, but it was a safe and sound. White light blocked it? Who, seeing that there was only a slight mark on the Chijia shield in front of him, Wei Zhuo was relieved. I didn't expect you to have a real spirit-level defensive shield. It seems that you are not the poor light-scattered repair that I had imagined. This is really an unexpected surprise. The green shirt boy's mouth slightly flicked and took out a white SE bone whistle. The seize of this whistle is very close to the seize of his spiritual weapon, and it seems to be made from different materials on the same monster. After saying that sentence, the Jing English disciple of Yu Huasong put the white bone whistle in his mouth and blew up. I depend. What made Wei Zhuo instantly cold-sweated, this white bone whistle blew up, not only the surrounding black winds surged, but also the strange sound hit Wei Zhuo's mind, making Wei Zhuo only feel dizzy. The shadows of the young men in green shirts are all heavy, and even the position of the other party is unclear at all. Be Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 132. Chapter 132. Move your hand away. First, ask for a red ticket. I want a red ticket. Let her go. As soon as I saw Wei Zhuo, it was shameless to hold the appearance of the absolute beauty female cultivator. This name was shrouded in the black robe, and the black robe strong man who could not see the face was extremely cold. A substantial killing intent makes the surrounding air seem to solidify. I am stupid. Old great treasure, if I let go of her, I guess it will be smashed right away. Wei Zhuo cried. I told you not to mess around. I have a few pieces of shapeshift great art. It is very fast. When I shake my hand, if I accidentally hit her, then the great treasure home. It's not good anymore. I swear I was passing by, and saved her by the way. You haven't seen anything, can you let me go? The black-robed male cultivator stands still, murderous aura diffuse, seems to be considering whether there is any square shapeshift great art, can kill Wei Zhuo without thunder without letting him harm the female cultivator. He really has nothing malicious, but at this time, the absolute beauty female cultivator, which was curated by Wei Zhuo, said that he was calm and abnormal. You let him leave. The black-robed male cultivator is a little glimpse. Absolute beauty female cultivator is slightly over the head, facing Wei Zhuo. After you let me go, you can leave, we will never stop. Ah, This is a very earthy way. Suo is a bit speechless. It's true that you saved me, otherwise I can't get out of that area. Absolute beauty female cultivator seems to be afraid of the black robe male cultivator suddenly, and explained, and you really have to leave, even this mythical underworld immortal lotus did not take away, it is really nothing. The black cultivator listens to the absolute beauty female cultivator. As a result, there is still no speech, but the murderous aura on the body is invisibly dissipated a lot. No, Wei Suo was very uneasy and shook his head directly, and refused, my cultivation base is much lower than you. If you don't talk, I can't run. In the next life, there is no time to talk. As soon as Wei Suo said it, the black robe male cultivator is immediately called surging sound. That's what you said, I haven't seen it yet. Wei Suo snorted, I can't do it anyway. The black robe male cultivator is irritated, but it is still hard to endure. Cold surging sound, what do you want? If you stand here, don't move, let her send me there. Then I turned around and left. Great treasure home. Well, water does not make river water, how do you see? Wei Suo clicked on the jungle where the secret place exits the secret place. Black robe male cultivator cold Wei, how do I believe in you? Wei Suo snorted and said, when you have a good life, you have never had a speech. You. No problem. Just as the black robe man couldn't help but want to attack, the female cultivator held by Wei Suo said, listen to him. When I heard the female cultivator, the black robe man stopped talking. He just received the small flag, removed the silver black cloud cover, and stared at Wei Suo. No problem. Bypassing the growing ground of mythical underworld immortal lotus, after a distance of 200 feet from the black robe man, it is definitely the first beauty of the female beauty that Wei Suo has seen so far. You can let me go. No, no. Wei Suo immediately shook his head. It's really good if you send me to that place. It's too unsafe to let go of it now. The female cultivator paused and said, can you always take your hand away? Wei Suo was shocked by this moment. His hand was always on the secret place of this female cultivator. It is no wonder how it feels so soft and comfortable. Wei Suo burst into sweat, and while moving his hand, he explained quickly, it is not intentional. The first time I did this, I was inexperienced and too nervous. I didn't have shapeshift great art, I just heavenly circuit realm first layer, the old great treasure has heavenly circuit realm 4 5th layer. Look. Mythical underworld immortal lotus, I will give you 2 lotus leaves. If you are lucky, Ice spiritual root will become a semi-spiritual roots.